Welcome to my channel, The J Formula. Today I wanted to follow up on my last video about the second stimulus checks. I've always been curious how the government can magically make money appear. As of a couple months ago, they were able to somehow make $2.3, I believe, trillion magically appear to pay stimulus checks to poor suffering Americans, such as myself. I think the debt is expected to be something like 25 trillion. Now, when you get up to 1 trillion, I just happen to believe that you're just making up numbers at this point. It reminds me of student loans. When I first started college, I was adamant about avoiding student loans as much as I could because I didn't want to have to be in debt, nor did I want to have to pay anyone money back with interest, right? So first 2 years, I was riding pretty, no student loans. Third year, fourth year, I managed to borrow, I think maybe $2,000, $3,000, some low number. It wasn't really $2,000, I'm just saving face, but some low number. But then after I graduated and I started to take some graduate classes, which by the way, I am 10 plus years into my master's degree and I still got 10 more to go. My student loan debt is at, I don't know, $60 or $80,000. And at this point, paying $200 a month, most of that being interest, there's no way I'm paying all that money back. And one of the tricks many people have used, not myself of course, to avoid having to pay that money back, to continue to enroll in classes at least half-time, because if you're part-time, then they're not going to require you to pay the money back. Accumulating more debts while avoiding to pay the other debt, but really accumulating more debt. But then it gets to the point where you ain't getting that money. You'll get some of it, but please, you ain't getting that money, please. If it's gonna be $80,000, it might as well be $100,000. And if it's $100,000, it might as well be $500,000. So I feel like the government is acting the same way when it gets to trillions of dollars of debt. Once it gets up to 2 trillion, or once it gets up to 1 trillion, it might as well be 5 trillion. And when it's 5 trillion, it might as well be 25 trillion. I mean, you ain't getting that money. That money is now that it's up there, it's you weren't getting the 1 trillion back, let alone to think about you're getting 25 trillion back. But what I find very amusing about that is that foreign entities continue to add on, continue to loan money, continue to allow them to borrow money and add on to this debt. That's what I feel is comical. But the same, I guess, as student loans. They give you the money. You may be already $100,000 in debt, but they give you more money. Because why not be more in debt? Because then they'll get more money from you. I feel like they purposely make it convoluted so that people can't understand it. That way they can continue to do their shady practices. But since you don't understand, you can't really say it's shady because you don't really understand it, but you know that it doesn't make sense. But they throw out a lot of big words to make it sound like, this high level, intellectual kind of thing when, come on, you borrow money, you loan money, you borrow money, you loan money, you pay interest. I feel like, stop making it so complicated. So, US decides it needs some money so that it doesn't go into some kind of economic collapse. Decides it needs some money. The Department of Treasury then figures out a way to make money happen. There is no, you can't have that money. It just, all right, you need money? I got you, boo. I'll make it happen. So then it sells bonds, which I had to look up what bonds really were because I don't know all this stuff.
When a government issues a bond, it's basically accepting a loan. The lender receives interest payments, plus his principal back when the bond matures. If an investor buys a government bond for $1,000 with a 5% interest rate, he will receive $50 a year until it matures, and then his original $1,000 back.
The Treasury sells bonds to 3 groups. One is, like I said, the public sector, like Social Security, retirement stuff, taxes, I don't know. They borrow money against that. So then there's the private sector, which are companies, big companies, probably like Johnson & Johnson, Apple, who knows. And then there are China and Japan. Their motive for purchasing bonds from the US is, one, we import so much shit from China, so much shit from China, that they have a huge stake in making sure that US economy is doing well, because if our economy is not doing well, then we can't buy from them. And if we can't buy from them, then their economy is not going to do well. Okay, I'm going to loan you this money because ultimately I know the money's going to come back to me anyway since you buy so much from me. But I'm not going to tell you that. I'm just going to be like this good Samaritan that's going to like loan you money. All right, I'm going to loan you money. Another level to this is that it also have a vested stake in making sure the US dollar is semi-strong. Like, it doesn't need to be like crazy strong, but it also can't be too weak. Because if the US dollar is too weak, then that means that inflation will happen. That means that's also a sign of like a not healthy economy. And the weaker the US dollar, the higher the value for the yen, the RMB. Is it called yen? Their money, which is the RMB. And they do not want, which I think is kind of like so homeland, secret government activities that are like, you would never think, it's like psychological. They have a vested stake in keeping their RMB weak, especially weaker than the US dollar. Because when their RMB is weak, then they are likely to export a lot, which keeps their economy good because jobs are still, jobs are intact. People are working, people are selling, people are getting money. When dollars value goes down, that results in inflation. So then things start costing more and people are less likely to buy, meaning import from China, which then cripples China's economy. So they're like, you know what? I'm gonna nip that in the butt. Listen, I'm gonna loan you some money because I need you to stay strong, because when you stay strong, then you can buy from me. And when you buy from me, my country is going to stay booming. I'm going to keep jobs floating, keep the employment rate high. I'm going to keep like people happy, and I'm going to make a lot of money. But if you don't have money to buy from me, not only that, if you start like printing a whole lot of money, then yeah, the people are going to be happy, but then prices are going to go up, and then you're not going to be willing to like buy from me, and I need you to buy from me, so I'm not going to tell you that, but I'm helping you out because I really need you to help me out. We're just like that enmeshed. So kind of brings me back to the fact that China owns a lot of US debt. Yeah, it does, and US may pay off some of it, but also even if the US were to not be as indebted in China, we're still very indebted to China because we're so reliant on each other. Like, this relationship is so intertwined that China is not going nowhere. Same thing for Japan. They're not going anywhere. If one goes, the other goes, and neither one of them wants to go. It's kind of like I had this relationship, maybe like a business partnership with a pawn shop. Judith and Cash for Gold pawn shop, whatever. And I get myself in a situation where I need some money. I need some money now. I need some money fast. And I'm good for it. Yeah, I don't necessarily pay all my money back, but to be in a relationship with me, financially, like a business relationship, you end up making so much money. So much money that whether or not I pay you the money back doesn't really it's like small potatoes. So then this pawn shop decides that it wants to sell some of its goods. So then that guitar that it bought from whoever at a really discounted rate, and that watch, that bass set, that cell phone, whatever, it sells it to X, Y, and Z to get some money, some cash in hand, so that it can give to me. Now, the fact that I now have cash and my bills are paid, but now that I have excess income, I'm gonna be like, oh my God, you know what? I really need a watch. My wrist is so naked without a watch. I need a watch. So then I'm going to go out and I'm going to buy a watch, and that's going to be my form of payment. I just gave you the watch. Like I know I borrowed some money for you, but here, I give you a watch. And it just continues in that nice little pretty cycle that is just so fascinating. All this stuff is so cool and fascinating if you are able to dissect, or as my therapist would say, unpack, if you're able to unpack it. Oh my God, this is like cool game going on. Unfortunately, my livelihood is part of the bargaining tools, or like the pawns used in the game willfully, freely, carelessly sometimes. But thinking about this as a game is like, oh, so money doesn't just appear out of thin air. And it would really hurt us because I'm like, I'm just like everybody else. If they have the ability to print money and I need money, then just print me some more damn money. Like, it's so not hard. It's really not hard. It's like my poor little plant here. You grow leaves all the time. I need some leaves. Give me some leaves. You grow leaves. I don't see what the big deal is. Like, stop being so stingy with your leaves. Give me the fucking leaves because you grow them all the damn time and you have this resource to have this like unlimited supply of leaves. But you know what? It doesn't quite work that way. Because the more money it prints, the more cash is in circulation. And the more cash in circulation, the more businesses are able to charge for their products. And the more businesses charge for their products, suddenly people are less willing to buy the products because they cost so much damn money, and people want to keep their cash. And when people don't want to buy products, guess what? The businesses go out of business, then people need to file unemployment. It's just like this all convoluted, related, cool shit. It really is cool shit. I like it. I love it.